In this tutorial, we will be demonstrating how easy it is to manage network drives within your virtual desktop environment using the VDI ToolKit. We will also look at some of the alternatives and their associated pitfalls. Lastly, we will demonstrate how the VDI ToolKit overcomes those pitfalls. One alternative is using group policy. Group policy unfortunately has some inherent problems when being utilized within a virtual desktop environment. Using group policy for managing network drives can regrettably slow down login times to the virtual desktops. User login times are often a pain point for new organizations implementing VDI, and everything that can reduce login times should be done. Group policy also does not use a robust rules engine that is aware of all aspects of your virtual desktop environment. This means it is not client aware, and group policy rules cannot be based off of the client or any other virtual desktop session variable. Furthermore, due to its limited scope, it cannot be used for location-based network drives. All of these pitfalls make the task of managing network drives with group policy more difficult and harder on system engineers. Let's talk about how the VDI ToolKit tries to differentiate itself from group policy when dealing with network drives. First, it has zero impact on login times. It supports location-based network drives. So for example, let's say you have an employee that works in 2 locations and needs a different network drive when working at another location. This is handled easily with the VDI ToolKit. It also uses a robust rules engine that fully understands the concept of a client and many other variables within your virtual desktop environment, such as user, virtual desktop host name, and client, to name a few. This all makes for much easier management by system engineers within your organization. So why is all this important, and why do we need this flexibility with network drives? Let's give an example. Please note this is just a limited example of the need for such flexibility and is not all-encompassing, as there are so many more use cases. Let's say we have a medical clinic that has 3 front office employees where one's job is to process incoming faxes from a fax server, file share, and add associated information to the electronic medical record for the associated patient. Now let's say the employees rotate occasionally or fill in when the employee is out. Now let's say we don't want to add the file share to everyone, but to only who is working at that client. With the power of the VDI ToolKit's rules engine, this is done easily. Up next, we will demonstrate managing network drives using the VDI ToolKit. Okay, so let's get started. So first, what we'll want to do is we will want to go ahead and open up the management console and create some network drives and map them to some rules. So we'll go ahead and open up the management console. All right, once this is open, we'll go ahead and expand it, and we will want to navigate to rules, rule items, and network drives. All right, as we can see, we don't have any created yet, so we'll go ahead and create a few. We'll give it a name, a description, we'll pick a drive letter, and we'll go ahead and enter in the path. And afterwards, we'll go ahead and hit add. Please note, when creating these, I like to put the drive letter in the name just to make it easier to search. Okay. And I'm going to also add 2 more that I know will fail for sure. One will be mapped to a physical drive, and the other will be mapped to a file share that does not exist. Okay, we'll hit add. Okay, that's the last one. We'll go ahead and add. Afterwards, we can do a search and we can see we have our drives here. I created 2 H drives because I'm going to show how to override a rule. So in case you wanted to map something different and there's already a rule being applied to, let's say, a user. So these are done. So now we'll navigate to rules, session rules, and network drive. And as we could see currently right now, we don't have any rules. So we're going to go ahead and create a rule. We'll give it a name and description. I'm going to go ahead and check global rule here. We'll want this to apply to all sessions. If you didn't want it to apply all sessions and wanted it to be something in particular, like a user, a client, whatever, you would not check global rule. So we'll go ahead and click add. Once we hit add, you'll notice it opens up the rule edit window. And from here, we can go ahead and add a configuration. So I'll go ahead and click on configuration. And we are going to add our C, which we know will fail. We're going to add our G. And we will add the first H. And we will also add the M, which I know will fail as well, as that file share does not exist. Once these are all done, we can go ahead and hit update. And afterwards, we can do a search and we can see our rule's been created and is ready to be applied. So what we'll want to do now is go ahead and test. So we can go ahead and minimize this and we will log into a virtual desktop. Okay, once logged into the virtual desktop, let's go ahead and we can take a look and confirm everything. So we'll click here. And we can see that our H drive and our G drive have mapped. And we can also go to the client, left click in the sys tray. And then we can go to rules and expand session modification rules. And we'll see we have one rule here that's a network drive rule. Go ahead and expand that. We see our rule here. If we highlight our mouse over, we can get details about the rule. We'll go ahead and expand that as well. And we can see our drives here. As we can see, G and H successfully mapped, and there was an issue with C and M. So what we can do is we can take and highlight our mouse. And you'll say that that drive is already in use by a physical drive for the C. And then for the M, we can see that it failed to map. There was an error, and that's due to the file share not existing. So let's go ahead and we'll log off this virtual desktop session. Okay, and once logged out of there, we're going to go ahead and navigate back to the management console. So let's say for that H drive, we want a different share to be mapped for H for when that user logs in and to override this default rule. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create a new rule by giving it a name and a description. This time we will not check global rule as we want it to only apply to the user that I'm logging in with. We'll hit add. We'll see the edit window open, and now we'll notice that we have the availability to add qualifiers. Please note, for more information on rule qualifiers and how those work, watch the tutorial on rules. The reason we didn't see these before was because it was a global rule, and global rules apply to all sessions. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add any qualifier, and we're going to add the user that we're logging in with. That's the VDI ToolKit user. We've added that. For configuration, we're going to add that second H drive. We got that added. And to make sure that it will override, and we need to give it a higher weight. So the default rule had a weight of 0. So this one, we're just going to go ahead and increment to 1. So that higher weight will allow it to override. So we're going to go ahead and hit update. And once we hit update, we can go ahead and do a search again, and we can see that our rule's been created. So now it's time to go ahead and test. So we'll go ahead and minimize this, and we will log back into a virtual desktop. Okay, once logged into our virtual desktop, let's go ahead and take a look. Let's see. Okay, as we can see here, our H drive mapped, and it was with test 3 share, not test 2 this time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the client. So we'll left click on the client, we'll go to rules, and we will go to expand session modification rules. And as we can see, we have 2 network drive rules now. We'll expand those. And as we can see now, from the default rule, the H drive did not map. If we actually highlight over, it'll tell us that it was ignored due to a higher weight rule. So I hope this tutorial has been informative, and thank you.